In the last video of this lecture, I go over the influence of social media on employee productivity and retention. Let me describe the case so that you know the context of this topic. An employee posted about the recent security incident on social media at IVK that could have led to lawsuits by shareholders and clients. Consequently, Jim Barton, the CIO, wonders what the general social media policy should be. If they take a restrictive policy, employees become careful not to disclose internal matters on social media. But if they take a supportive policy, it would lead to higher creativity at the company as communities and interest groups grow. Therefore, more informal connections are created that lead to developing diverse ideas, which improves IVK's creativity. A study by Wu and colleagues recommends taking a supportive policy toward social media. They have found that using social media increases employee productivity and employee retention. This happens because of the effect of social media on employees' social networks information richness. Let me explain what this information richness is so that you can understand this theory better. An individual's social network is all the people he or she is socially connected to. Sometimes these social networks have strong ties among the members that create a clique. Social ties inside a clique is strong, while social ties outside the clique are weak. Weak ties are critical as they bring new, non-redundant information to the clique. If we compare the two networks, Network 1 and Network 2, Node A is more likely to get novel, non-redundant information in Network 2 compared to Network 1, even though it has the same number of links. Node A enjoys a higher level of non-redundant information as a result of the three structural holes in Network 2. There exists no connection between B and C, no connection between C and D, and no connection between B and D. When your contacts are not connected to one another, the information that each holds should be more unique, and as a result, the total information value available in your sparse network should be greater than that in a closed network that has no structural holes. Therefore, a network with low cohesion, that is, low number of ties and many structural holes, are called information-rich network. Here you can see the contacts of the highlighted node in network 1 also have ties with one another. Since there is no structural holes, the network has low total information value. To increase information richness, adding a weak tie, a contact that has no connections with the current contacts, creates three structural holes and increases the information richness of the social network of the highlighted node. Let me show you how you can calculate the information richness of an individual's social network. You can do that for yourself as well. Assume that we want to do this calculation for individual 5. Node 5 is connected to nodes 3, 6, and 8. Probable social ties between her contacts are 3 and 6, 3 and 8, and 6 and 8. You can see that only one tie exists, that is 6 and 8. And there are two structural holes, 3 to 6 and 3 to 8. Therefore, information richness of node 5 is 1 minus 1/3, that is 0.67. Wu et al. has found that using social media increases an individual's social network's information richness. And they defined this information richness as having low cohesion between the contacts of an individual and having many structural holes in one's social network. And they measured this by, a formula of, one minus the degree to which an individual's contacts are connected to each other, in addition to being connected to the individual himself. Wu and colleagues also found that increasing networks information richness will increase information diversity and social communication. Information diversity is the heterogeneity of the information content in, for example, an individual's electronic communication. Social communication is the frequency of informal communication, such as talking about children in a person's electronic communications. Increasing information diversity will improve employees' productivity, which can be measured by the billable revenue per employee. Increasing social communication increases employee retention, which can be measured by whether employee still works for the company or not. Therefore, using social media can increase an individual's social networks information richness, and these will increase information diversity and social communication related to that employee, which led to increasing the employee's productivity as well as employee retention. So let's pause here for a minute and try to figure out what can you recommend to Jim Barton based on this theory. So my recommendation to the CIO is to motivate using social media for information workers, because the previous theory uh, by Wu and his colleagues were about IT consultants, were about information workers. And information workers' job involves problem solving. Without having diverse information, they cannot solve the issues in the company. So for these kind of employees, definitely go for motivating and supporting the usage of social media. With regard to other employees, you have access to their email communication. You can do the same kind of analysis that Wu and his colleagues did. So first off, you retrieve the individual score for structural holes and weak ties. You can easily create the social network using the email server of your company. You can figure out who is connected to who in an anonymous way, and then you can figure out the structural holes for each individual and then calculate the information richness for an individual. Then you try to see if there is a correlation between this information richness and an employee's productivity and retention. If there is a positive correlation, take a supportive social media policy. If there is no correlation, take a restrictive, or if there is a negative correlation, then go for a restrictive social media policy. Pause here for a minute and answer this question, as well as this one and this one. In the next lecture, we go over IT contracts and talent management.